Hello YouTubers out there, this is the Boob Wasteland Show with your host Jerry Saravia. So today I'm going to talk about the level of outrage apparently through Twitter over SNL, which was shown last night, February 28th, 2015, with the host Dakota Johnson, Don Johnson's and Melanie Griffith's daughter, now pretty much famous for having appeared in the film 50 Shades of Grey. Talk about outrage. Where do we draw our outrage? We are not drawing it on the right things. So, Dakota Johnson appeared in an ISIS spoof. Now, I did see this briefly. I was so tired last night, I only saw really the opening of SNL, her basic introduction, and which was kind of funny, and then this particular skit. So this was a spoof of ISIS, or not ISIS specifically. Basically, the commercial showed her being dropped off at what looked like an airport by her father. And this was a spoof about an army-bound daughter, and you've probably seen this commercial. It's a spoof of this commercial, being dropped off at the airport by her father. In the SNL version, the daughter is being picked up by Islamic militants in a Toyota pickup truck. So the father, played by Taron Killam, who is of course an SNL regular, says, "You be careful, okay?" And she says, "Dad, it's just ISIS." And a teary-eyed Killam instructs one of the militants to take care of her. And the guy says, "Death to America," and the truck drives off. And in voiceover you hear, "ISIS will take it from here, Dad." Now, apparently, Twitter is aflutter with negativity. Somebody said, "Actually offended by the ISIS sketch. Is that seriously all you could come up with? I say this as a lifelong SNL fan." Another person said, "The ISIS commercial was in poor taste. Scratch that. Horrible taste." And another one says, "Very distasteful of SNL making fun of the ISIS crisis on tonight's episode. Horrible, inappropriate. We turned off after watching that skit." You know, people nowadays are willing to turn off anything after they're offended by something. Then another person said, "SNL ISIS skit also draws a moral equivalence between ISIS murderers and the U.S. military." I don't know where you're getting that. It's a spoof. It doesn't actually show or corroborate, or correlate rather, the U.S. military. "Can't be serious," another person says. "ISIS skit? Like going to college when so many people are being kidnapped and killed? Depraved." Now, here's the interesting thing to kind of defend the SNL spoof, and I did find it funny, but it set me on edge. But then again, you know what? That's what humor is supposed to do. It doesn't make fun of ISIS, the commercial, but let's go back here to a CBS News report from August 22nd of last year. And they said that the U.S. government has positively identified a relatively small number of Americans, fewer than 12, who have joined ISIS. There's also a group of Americans who have linked up with Al-Qaeda's affiliate, al-Nusra, and a large number of unknown Americans who have joined the Syria Free Army. Now, I do believe that's part of the thing, isn't it? It's spoofing the idea that now some Americans, white Americans if you like, are joining ISIS. Maybe few and far between, but they're joining the fight, and that's the enemy. The spoof I thought was funny, but it doesn't make fun of ISIS, because anyway, there wouldn't be anything wrong with making fun of ISIS anyway. This has happened all the time. When you go back to the history of journalism, in particular during World War II, let's say, Hitler was featured quite often in the comics with Captain America. And Captain America would be punching Hitler. Now, was that in bad taste? I don't know if anybody even thought it was in bad taste back then. And Hitler has been parodied, and particularly by Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator in 1940, and that's when World War II is still going on. So the point is, if it's funny, it works. If it's not funny, it's offensive. That's the difference. This was funny, but it doesn't make fun of ISIS. It doesn't make fun of our U.S. military. What it does is it makes fun of a commercial about a woman or a daughter being sent to the army. But the correlation ends there. This is just a joke, that's all. There's nothing funny about ISIS, the group. Not in reality, but it doesn't mean you can't poke fun at it. I wish people would know the difference. The commercial basically doesn't even say that ISIS is automatically funny. It's kind of like, if you have a movie, and there have been several of these comedies, alleged comedies, where they think that farting in and of itself, for example, is funny. Now, I'm not making a correlation between farting and ISIS, but you get my point. Farting is not funny. It's just not. A fart doesn't mean that there's no punchline. It's just a fart. Now, if it happens in a situation that you're creating, a scenario where you allow the laughs to come forward, and for the punchline, that's different. But the commercial doesn't make fun of ISIS. It just spoofs the other commercial. That's all. And it's making a point, which is that some Americans are in fact joining ISIS. They may be a small group, but there are some that, are interested. And even, when you look at Jihadi John, for example, whom they're currently looking for, it would have been in bad taste, the commercial, if, you see Dakota Johnson, she puts on the outfit, and then she decapitates a prisoner. Then I would say, yeah, you're crossing the line there. That's much too soon, and besides, there's nothing funny about that anyway. That's tragic. The commercial was spoofing, or the spoof was spoofing the commercial. So let's just try and remember that. I wish people would recognize her sense of humor, but I think just automatically, because ISIS is in the news so much, they just think anything that, even remotely tries to deal with that subject matter in a comedic vein is wrong. Well, I don't know. I didn't think it was wrong. I thought it was rather funny, but that's just me. I don't have a sick sense of humor. I just think it was funny. That's all. If it wasn't funny, like some of the gags on, for example, Family Guy, where they have, in fact, dealt with terrorism in ways that were not funny at all, but were offensive. Draw your outrage in the right places. Humor is subjective, but please. And this is the Boob Wasteland Show with your host, Jerry Saravia, signing off.